Welcome to the Trades Leadership Podcast, the show where we talk about real stories behind the wins and the challenges and the lessons learned on the way up. I'm your host, Denise Powell, and today we have with us Robert.
Hey everybody, I am your co-host Robert, and I don't have the UK accent, so hopefully you guys could bear with that. But yeah, excited to have our guest on today, and yeah, looking forward to the conversation.
Excellent. And today's guest is Matthew Howland. He's a business owner of Howland Home Services. So Matthew, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to diving into some of the issues that impact our industry.
Excellent. Thanks. Well, Matthew, would you like to kick us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Sure. We're Howland Home Services. We are located in upstate New York, in the Rochester, New York area. We started, we're about 4.5 years old. We're relatively new. We've gone over the hump of the first couple of years and made it beyond. And we service, our ideal jobs are, somewhere between 10,000 and 200,000 from a remodel perspective. We focus, our bread and butter is bathrooms, kitchens, basements. But we started out kind of as, I started the business as a handyman and just kept having customers say, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And so we focus in on really taking care of our customer and keeping them long term. And so we'll do miscellaneous work for our customers all the time. Hey, can you come hang a ceiling fan? Sure. Can you come put an appliance in? Absolutely. And just trying to be that one-stop shop that our customers just keep coming back to. And we have numerous customers that call us with lists. Hey, we've got a list of things. Come on out, Matt. Let's get that taken care of. And that's been pretty successful for us.
What made you decide to start your own business?
I really wanted to kind of just do things on my own and grow something that was my own. I had worked in management for over 20 years in various locations. I had come up through commercial, first residential construction, then into commercial construction. 2008, I found myself laid off and went into hotels and was working management in hotels and doing facilities management. And over that time, I just kept picking up more and more skills to do a lot of different things. And so, I really got to the point where I was like, listen, I've been working for a lot of other people and I put in a ton of hours in hotels. It was nothing to do 80 hours in the summertime where I worked. And so, I was like, man, I'm putting a lot of hours building for other people. I'd like to really build something for myself and be able to do this. And so just analyzing skills, initially I looked at it and said, I'd worked in facilities maintenance. I could fix just about anything. And I was like, why not a handyman? As the business morphed from there, we really fell into, more remodeling. We still take some service calls and on all of that stuff, but it was just, part of wanting to build that thing, build a really successful team, make people really, really satisfied with the results. I mean, one of the best feelings that me and my team get is we finish the end product and the team, the homeowner is ecstatic. The team is ecstatic. They created this thing and they made this feeling for the homeowner. And that's just, an awesome feeling for all of us involved. And so it's very rewarding to get to the end of something like that, shake hands and just do that. And just a lot of joy that comes out of that. Really, I bootlegged the business, meaning we worked with what we had on hand and cash that we had in pocket. And so we would, it was an analysis. I had a set of tools on hand, didn't have all the tools, and, was very strategic in doing that. And we would take on various projects. Sometimes we'd take on a project and go, oh, we're going to have to buy such and such tool when we take on this project. And then we would just buy the tool when we had the project. And so, but yeah, it was, it's kind of crazy because if you're working the trades, getting into doing something like this and starting your own, it's a little bit of a low upfront cost because if you've been doing it, you already have all these tools.
Yeah.
But long term, I'm investing in thousands of dollars in tools every single month, and so it's kind of one of those things, like, it doesn't seem like it costs much in the front end, but
Yeah,
we're putting, we're probably spending $20,000-$30,000 in tools this year, um, uh, type of deal. So it's
gotcha.
just the way it goes.
And when you say tools, these are physical, not like software
No,
tools.
we're talking hand tools, yeah, power
Hand tools. Yeah,
tools, all of
yeah,
that stuff, outside of software. So,
gotcha.
so that's the crazy part. But it's very, really, really strong. Wanted to bootleg the business and just start with cash and pocket. And so we've never taken a loan, never taken a line of credit. We do have credit with vendors, but other than that, and all those vendors are paid, at the end of the month, and we have healthy cash flow. And so we were very intentional in doing that because we see a lot of contractors here that they go out and they take out $100,000 loan to get a van, outfit it with tools, and at the end of that, you've got a $1,500 to $2,000 monthly payment to support that. If the economy shifts, those guys are in real trouble. And so
Yeah,
we just really wanted to be like, I really wanted to be in the position where I didn't want to have to choose making a loan payment over maintaining a great quality worker, and have to choose if do I have to not pay somebody, not, I mean, lay them off. I mean, we pay them
yeah,
if they work,
yeah.
versus I got to make this payment and I'd rather not be there, And so it puts you I believe, in a more stable position. It also does cause us to grow at a slower rate because, if we don't have the capital on hand to invest, sometimes that, becomes a challenge, but we're also then very stable from a long-term perspective. Uh,
Gotcha.
so
Well,
and I know probably you probably have guests that have a completely different view. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. Well, talk me through the scalability, like how the demand for remodeling services, and obviously everybody has different opinions around the real estate market and all those different things. But I'm curious on like being that you've been in the trade these last couple years, and you probably have a good idea of where you see this going in the next decade plus. Is the demand really there to kind of maybe grow this business to even more employees and scale it to wherever maybe you're targeting?
Yes, I believe so. And it's really interesting. So we started the business in 2021. I was in the height of COVID and COVID spending here in the U.S. And so you know, I picked up the phone and we pretty much would get a job, and made it really easy to overcome well, why should I trust you? You're brand new, to a certain degree, because to a certain degree, people were having such a struggle finding good quality contractors. It literally was that. I would get phone calls and they would say, "You're the eighth person we called. Thank you so much for answering the phone or calling us back."
That is
And
crazy.
oh, it was crazy. And I'm sitting here going, man, my competition is making it easy to get started here. And so in those early years, because there was such huge demand for what we did, our biggest limitation, my first couple of years, I didn't spend any money marketing the business. The What I spent money on was marketing to get new employees. That was the overall challenge with um, with the business at that time. So as we were moving forward, that's transitioned over the last year. We have seen stagnant growth. 2025, we ended up doing the summer 2025 where we weren't doing massive remodel projects. We were doing a lot of smaller projects that people needed to get done. What I was talking to all my contractor friends, and what we were finding was people were focusing on what they have to do, not what they want to do. And so my roofing companies that I work with, they were slammed because when you figure out that you need a roof, you're buying a roof. You don't buy a roof because you're like, oh, I just don't like the color of it anymore. No, somebody says your roof is going to start leaking like crazy shortly. You should probably get a new roof, or it is leaking like crazy already, and you get a new roof. And so the roofing companies were completely slammed. But guys like me that are like more of a luxury, were coming into, you can deal with your bathroom maybe another year and all of that stuff, and so you're like, well, we'd like to remodel the bathroom, but I don't know. And so a lot of fear that came around tariffs, a lot of fear that came around some other things, I think, in the economy. And even though we really haven't seen the price increases that everybody was predicting coming out of the tariffs here in the US, we've seen minor. It more has been, I think, a little bit of fear driven there, where people are just like, we can wait until next year. Now, we were very stable. We were in a very good position. We've got great customers. And we kept having leads come in. And that's part of it, is because we were, we were constantly investing in that when times were good. And so, if your listeners check us out, we're 5-star reviews across the board. And that we look at that as an investment as far as moving forward. And now we've seen the market flip. And so what I was saying early on, we were spending money trying to get quality talent to come work for us, and it was a real struggle. Now we had a job posted. We just hired somebody. We have 20 plus year experienced people applying for helper positions. And, a lot of these were our former business owners that started at exactly the same time that I started, and they didn't invest in those things. And they're now struggling, and they've run out of work, and they're looking to come work for a guy like me. And so we've seen that labor market make a dramatic shift here. And so we're working, the goal in springtime is to really capitalize on that. Hit the summer, because we do believe that 2026 is going to be not as much stronger a year than 2025. We believe that there is the work out there for us.
Are you using AI to help you grow the business and support you?
Yeah, on a limited basis. I wish that and maybe this is my own limitation. Like, or probably one of the biggest limitations. I'm the bottleneck on the business, right? Like, right. I'm the salesperson. I'm the operations manager. I'm, HR. I'm the bottleneck here. And, one of the biggest bottlenecks is probably our sales process. I take a lot of pride in giving good information. We put together a detailed quote for our clients, and, so that they know exactly, hey, this is a $50,000 kitchen. What am I getting? And so, I know some of my competitors, not all, they'll do a $50,000 kitchen and it's a 10-line quote. And it's kind of like, I don't know that that's the right thing to do. But those things take time, right? And so what we haven't found, and we're, every few months taking a look at, is how does AI help me develop that? And it just hasn't been there yet. Definitely use it on an administrative basis. The other day, I came, as I said, I came through, had been working 20 years in management, and all of a sudden I realized I needed an incident report form because one of my people got hurt. And nothing major, thank God. But I was like, oh, we need to document this. And 2 minutes later, AI had spit out an incident report form that took another 2 minutes to edit to fit my needs. And I'm now using it. And I'm sitting here going, man, I know I made these forms in the past, and we would have been half an hour to an hour, because I'm okay. I'm pretty good with computers, but it just takes time. You know what I mean? So kind of stuff like that is what, definitely been using AI for. And I'm anxious and looking forward to where that can expand and be used. Obviously, the physical work, I don't know that we're anywhere near that yet, but if we can cut down the administrative work, that would be huge. One of my surprises coming into the business was I allotted time for administrative work and knew that it was going to be a significant amount of time. I would say I misestimated how significant that was. I put it at, somewhere around 20 to 30% of the business, would be administrative. So budget 20 to 30%. I would say it's closer to 30 to 40, somewhere in there. Not a huge misestimation, but it's enough. And so you look at that and you say, well, that's not value added tasks. If we can reduce that 5-10%, that's huge, from there. Because value added tasks is, I put in a new bathroom for you. That's what the client pays for. They're not paying me They are, but they're really not paying me to put an estimate together. What they want is a new bathroom. And so, that's kind of the mindset behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much time would you say, uh, like throughout the week that you spend on administration? Like obviously sales, that's like very valuable. That's helping you grow the business. But all of the other like administrative things that you're doing, like would you say that's like costing you a ton of time or just a little bit of the time or
It's a ton of time. It's
yeah,
probably, somewhere around 20 hours a week,
yeah,
and so, I'm probably pulling a 50 to 60 hour week as a business owner. And so let's call it, it's a third. Let's call it about a third of the time. So
yeah,
yeah, finding ways to cut that down by 5 hours, 10 hours, it's huge. And so, and I'm like, I've always been in the nature of my career looking for new technology that makes life better, easier, faster, new ways to organize. And so, yeah, and every once in a while, I pay attention to the various AIs, ChatGPT, Gemini, some of the others, and even a couple of weeks ago was doing a search to see, hey, where's this one come to? What are their strong points? How can that help me in my business? We use probably Gemini the most because we're on the Google platform, and we've definitely seen huge gains in the way that works over 6 months ago from here.
Yeah. It's vastly changed. That's for sure. And it continues to improve as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I started out using AI to help me write emails. That was my primary use of it. Proofread this email, and by the way, and then social media posts. And that was huge in itself. I'm not a writer,
yeah,
per se. And so I would write out an email and then I'd spend another, if it was had a significant impact, client or whatever, I spend the next 5 or 10 minutes reading it, rewriting it. And
yeah,
when I could just sit here and say, make this sound friendlier, and it all of a sudden it's, spits it out and it's friendly. I was like, wow, this is game changing. I'm a very direct communicator, so I've had to learn with, to put on the softer side, to understand that tone and inflection don't always come through in an email, and so my favorite emails would just be 2 lines and send. But that doesn't go over well with clients, and sometimes doesn't go over well with other suppliers and people that you need to build relationships with. So AI was huge in that for me because I saw a significant time boost, and probably caused me to not be afraid to write lengthier stuff, because now I'm really not investing more time for that, and there's a return there.
gotcha. And what about the I know you talked about the I think you said you're spending a couple thousand, I don't know, whatever the number was on like the like physical tools. But from a software tool standpoint, do you have a lot of spend there, like your CRM, your time track, whatever you're using for those different things?
Yeah, we have a disjointed kind of system at this point. We spend about $200 to $250 a month right now on software. We use some design software to help us with various projects. We use QuickBooks Online. We're upgraded to the project management suite, and we're use
Yeah,
that for tracking project costs. And then we have a timekeeping app that we use to track time on the project costs. So it's really one of these things like unfortunately, software, especially service software, can really eat at your bottom line if you're not
yeah,
careful with it, because it's like everybody can relate to this streaming service, right? Like,
yeah,
you can easily have like 5 different streaming services at home.
yep,
And, all of a sudden we're like, it was only $15 a month, but it's now $15 a month times 5. And you're like, wow, we're up to the cable bill now,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
exactly,
plus I'm paying for internet on top of that, and
exactly.
so you're like, ooh, this is cutting. Well, as a business, we're the same way. If we're not careful and being judicious about choosing those things, we can start to, that stuff, chips away at profitability, and it's not nothing. That's $3,000 a year. Who doesn't
Yeah,
want three
exactly.
thousand dollars a year more in your pocket?
Yeah,
Overall.
It's always the hidden cost that grab you as well. It's only going to
Yeah,
cost you 100 a month, but then also this add-on and that add-on and that add-on, and it all adds up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, the QuickBooks is, I think it's 110 a month, or something like that. So the decision on making that is a return on investment. We're billing out our time at somewhere around $100 an hour. Okay. And so if upgrading to a higher end QuickBooks saves us 1 hour, okay, then it becomes a no-brainer. If it saves us 2 hours, we're getting a return on investment. We look at all software along those lines. If I can go do some work that's value added to the business, and and at the end of the day, there's value added to me as a home or a business owner by having my numbers in line and books in line. But overall, it's not necessarily always a value added to the business, because my end client doesn't care that I pay $110 a month for QuickBooks, and so they just care that the bathroom gets done and gets done well, and they love it when they get done. That's what they care about. So, and that's what we need to focus in on.
I have a question to ask you about the people that you hire and the skill set that's actually out there. So I'm hearing vastly different things. So when we speak to people, some people say there's an abundance of tradesmen out there that we can utilize, and others say there's no one out there that's even trained or qualified enough to do it to a high level and standard. How do you find your tradesmen that you hire?
It's tough. I mean, we post on like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and all of those things, and then we go through a multi-interview process. What we do differently is we don't hire quickly. We hire for a very specific skill set, because unfortunately in the short term we've been in business, we've had a couple of bad hires, and a bad hire a bad hire for all businesses impacts the bottom line. On a small business, it's dramatic. It's extremely noticeable, and so you just don't want to have a bad hire from there. So it's the interview process is lengthy. You got to be willing to spend for good quality people, and so we've seen the hourly wage go up dramatically over the last 4 years for, what would have been, in this area, say $22 an hour. It's now 30 plus. And then there's guys out there with lots and lots of experience that are easily asking for $45 an hour. And so, and this could, overall, I view that as good for the trades, but it's difficult for, us as a business owner to scale, because we once in a while, we get people like that, or they're just over skilled for what we do. They've run massive crews before, and they want to come in as a remodeling crew lead, and they're like, I need 50, and I'm like, you're worth it, but you're just not worth it to me, and that's okay, and I wish you all the best. So that's probably the challenges in finding. We hire, and then the other challenge is we hire for two things. We hire for physical skill, but we hire for soft skills. One of our focuses is really, engaging the customer. And so this came out of my hospitality days working in hotels. My goal in starting the business is that we would, from a home remodeler perspective, offer a customer service type to our customers, similar to what a hotel does for you. Great hotel, right? And so I want people that are engaging with clients, and it's very much part of the review, very much part of raises. If you're not engaging with clients, then we've got a problem. I want them to have small talk on Monday mornings about how the weekend went. I want them to be focused in so much on the client that when their mood shifts, we notice and can be reactive. And we've had that. We've had it to where I've had an employee call me and say, hey, so-and-so isn't looking so happy this morning. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it might be worth a phone call from you, Matt. And I pick up the phone, I call and I say, hey, what's going on? My employee said that you're not looking so happy this morning. Anything we can help with? And here's what's great is there's been times where, yeah, we did something, they're not happy. There's been times where they're like, man, I'm just in a bad mood today. I got up on the wrong side of the bed. Thanks for noticing. I'm grateful that you noticed, but really, it's nothing to do with you. Okay, get my bathroom done, and I'll be a little bit better because it's an inconvenience when we come in and tear your house apart. There's just no doubt about it. And so when we hire for those soft skills, we have very, very engaged and happy clients that keep coming back to us. And that's part of the reason why I say we have been interviewing former business owners that have dried up for work, and yet we're still looking to hire. And, because they didn't develop those soft skills, they didn't keep that engagement with their client, they didn't focus in on it. So, and it's sometimes a risk to bring those into your business because they kind of failed for a reason. I hate to say, can they be molded to meet our standards? And many of them can, and you ask some very specific questions during the interview process to kind of get through that.
Awesome. Very nice. Well, listen, Matt, if you had to do it all again, what is one piece of advice you would have given yourself right at the start that you wish you had known, that you know now?
Yeah. So that's a great question. I guess, I was quick to hire early on because I had such business demand there. And it would have been okay to slow down. And so having you in COVID, so 2-3 years ago, it was really difficult to find good quality people that wanted to come work for you. And on top of that, we're brand new, we're small. And so I had great candidates that came and said, gee, Matt, I love you, but I just don't know where you're going. It's just way too early for me to take that risk. I got a family. I'd like health insurance. Let's talk 401k. And I'm like, I get it. And we're not even talking salary. Salary was not an obstacle. It was those other things. Are you going to give me the stability of life that I need for my whole family? And I go, listen, I have a family myself. I've got 3 daughters, my wife, raised them. There's definitely points in my career that I've had to, make a choice related to family stability. And so that was tough. That was really tough. And so you get to a point where you're like, I'm a little bit desperate to get people, but that's a bad place to be in. And, because they can be more detrimental to your business than help you. And so waiting for that right candidate that really kind of fits who you are. And then not being afraid to spend and pay for it, when they come along.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
I was going to say, if anyone would like to know more about Howland Home Services or speak to Matthew directly, please see contact details below. But it's been absolutely incredibly insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.